Here we go, guys. All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Barry Asman here, together with my co-host,
B Fox,
and the one and only blind poet all the way from Manchester, UK, Mr. Dave Steele.
Hey,
in the
how
corner
are you
there.
guys?
what's
Can
that?
you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. Questions, can you hear
Yeah.
us?
I certainly can.
Awesome.
So good to see you two.
Good to see you as well. Round 2 for today.
Yeah, absolutely. Busy day.
It's been a busy day. It's been a busy day. I want to welcome everyone. Hope everyone, I love that first hand up.
Travis.
Travis in the house.
What's up, brother?
Hope everyone doesn't mind. I have my coffee here. Well, it is tea and poetry, so
B, I grabbed a box of tissues to get started. Yeah.
a box of tissues here.
Yep. Because Dave already sent me something earlier today. We're not going to share it, but we're talking about some pretty cool stuff with Dave's new writings. And I saw a preview.
Whoa.
I saw a preview.
Sorry about that, guys. I just kicked the table out in front of me. That was by accident. All right, guys. Hope everyone is staying healthy. And just want to remind everyone, there are 3 ways how you can communicate with us. 1, if you put your hand up, just like Travis has his hand up, you can, that means we're going to bring you into the conversation. Number 2, through the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, through the chat. So it's great to see some wonderful faces.
Certainly is. I'm just looking at the moment.
Yep. And some new faces. And hey, Doreen, how are you? And
I hope your hair is doing very well today, Dorian.
I hope so too. Ben, could you just actually move over a little towards me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. That's much better. Now I feel all better.
How's it
Okay.
going?
All righty, Dave. What's happening in the world of poetry?
Well, lots that we kind of can't talk about. As always, we always have these kind of things bubbling in the background. Hopefully some kind of big announcements coming in the future. I've been writing this week. Certain people out there have inspired me. And I feel like I'm going to be, I think we spoke about this before. Sometimes I kind of hit little waves of kind of being inspired and inspiration. And it's been very difficult recently because with the way things have been with COVID, I'm not getting out. Obviously, we're told to stay at home. We're not allowed to travel far away from our houses here in the UK. In fact, there's people, believe it or not, been fined and arrested for being as far away as 5 miles away from their home.
Wow.
In parks.
That's really intense, And I think it really puts things in perspective on, I think, the dichotomy of what's, the UK, the US, or wherever you may be. But, here on the East Coast, I mean, I think I would say we're fortunate that we don't have that level of restriction in place.
Dave, it reminds me of some of the great writers of the past. And you ask them where they got their inspiration from, and they've got hunkered down, period. Each and every one of them,
I have moments, as I said, when we initially went into this, I was very inspired to write about COVID and the kind of things that we were going through. Obviously, initially when we started these tea and poetry, even before it was tea and poetry, that's what we did. We wrote about what was going on in the world and how we were all feeling. But there comes a certain time when you long to travel and you long to kind of be with friends again, because I'm not really seeing anyone, and it's being with you guys and being with some of the people that have become friends through this that kind of inspire me. Me and Barry have spoken before about how I've been on trips to come out to the States on a plane, and Barry's messaged me and said, write a piece of poetry about your trip, and 10 minutes later he's got a fully fledged piece of poetry written about American Airlines, and so I need kind of stuff like that. So when we have moments and times like this where I'm kind of locked down and not experiencing as many new things as I would do if I was out, I look for inspiration in other places. So I look for inspiration from you guys, from things that are going in your lives, through music, through things that I see on TV and in the media and things like that. And the first piece of poetry now I've got tonight is for someone. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to embarrass this person. And I'm going to kind of allude to who it is by explaining why I wrote this piece of poetry.
Could this person be on the call today?
Yes, they are.
Oh,
this is, I was inspired to write this piece of poetry after last week's call. For those of you that were on last week's call, we had a moment at the end of last week's call where we were talking to someone, and it inspired me to write this piece of poetry. So I want to get straight into it, if that's okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, so it goes like this. I guess I knew, as we all do, that blindness would progress. Sometimes the change is temporary or linked to daily stress. A sudden dip in vision can be due to many things, just another of the battles living with low vision brings. But I know this is more than that. This time what's lost is gone. Still, I will keep adjusting to the blur and carry on. I'm screaming out inside, but try to quiet down that voice. Won't let my demons consume me or control me. That's my choice. I'll shift this anxious feeling that is pushing down my chest, for I have been here many times and risen to each test. The sadness is a symptom, just a natural way to grieve, for all the sight's been stolen and for all that's yet to leave. I'll ride this storm and be reborn with strength that's deep in me. I know for precious vision that I don't need sight to see. No matter what blind future brings, I won't lose what's made this man. It's why I write these words for you, because if I can, then you can. For you can't heal what you don't reveal. So if you felt the same, then share these words, these rhyming verbs, for always hope remains.
B. Now I see why you got a box of tissues here.
What was that part about? If you don't do this, then you can't heal. I was thinking.
Yeah, do you like that line? I knew.
Yeah,
do you know what?
Please
I
hit me with
knew
that
you'd
again,
pick
bro.
out that line. I knew you'd pick out that line.
Yeah.
It says, "You can't." Yeah, sorry, where's it gone? Let me find it.
Could you hit me with the line right before that too, which I was caught up on? When you
Yeah,
said it.
sorry.
Yeah.
No matter what blind future brings. Sorry, I'm gonna where. I know for precious vision that I don't need sight to see. No matter what blind future brings, I won't lose what made this man. It's why I write these words for you, because if I can, then you can. For you can't heal what you don't reveal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel the same, then share these words.
Dave, you can't heal what you don't reveal. Is that
that was the line? That's my favorite line there. That's my favorite line there. Yeah. You can't heal what you don't reveal. Mm-hmm.
You like that?
I really do,
Dave.
Dave.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember writing that line, and I have these kind of moments, and when you're in the kind of flow of, it's kind of the person's on my chest, on my shoulder. Sorry, I've got the person on my shoulder speaking the words to me as I'm writing, and it just kind of a line just naturally, organically comes out, and I take a step back and go, yeah, I like that. That's cool. And I remember, when I wrote that after last week, that was something that really spoke to me.
Very powerful piece, and I am moved by that line as well. You can't heal what you don't reveal.
Yeah. I'm
going to use that line.
And the line that I was thinking about that right before that was, if I can, you can, or something like that. As the words that stuck in my mind.
There's a piece of poetry that I wrote a while ago, and it talks about a time when because I've struggled still. I'm still struggling with Amy being, still really bad. Really struggling. She's been in that hospital, and with the isolation, which is made even worse by Amy being ill, because we're kind of, Amy normally drives places and stuff like that, so it's been kind of getting on top of us all. So I had a couple of days ago where anxiety was really getting the best of me, and I remember writing this piece of poetry, and I've spoke about it before. I often turn to my poetry when I'm struggling. Mm-hmm. And there's a line. In fact, let me see if I can find it now. 1 second, just bear me. Because
I was looking at some quotes from Helen Keller over the past week or so for a little project that I'm working on, and now it's like I think I need to use some of your quotes.
Yeah.
I think they're very appropriate side by side.
Yeah, I've been told that before.
I like that idea.
Mhm.
Side by side. Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, I can't find it for some reason. I don't know why. So basically, the premise of the line was about if I don't take my advice, my own advice, the advice that I give people within my poetry, then that makes me a liar. And that's me reminding myself that I've said all these words to people, and if I don't take my own advice sometimes, then that's taking the truth away from my poetry. And I often turn to my own words to kind of remind myself.
Yeah. I hear that. Well, we've got a hand up. I think we should attend to that hand. One of our favorite hands. Travis, we're bringing you right on.
I just hope as well the person that was intended for. I'm just looking in the chat actually.
There is.
What does that feel like to have a poem written for you to that person out there?
Yeah.
What does that feel
By
like?
the way, I'm just on a complete side note. I must give a special shout out to Morton Bunda, who is joining us this evening.
Yeah.
Morton in the house. We'll have to bring you on soon, Morton.
Stop. Swap.
Are we on?
We are on. We are on, Travis.
Okay.
How are you?
Good. How about you guys?
We are doing good. We are pumped. We are caffeinated, and we are
Sure see
excited to be here.
Definitely. Me too. I'm definitely excited to be here too. It's just hard to believe it's already the 20th, though.
I know. It's like, where'd the month go?
Wait, is it really the 20th?
Yeah, January
Yep,
20th.
it is.
It
Yeah,
is.
we'll soon be in February, and
I know.
and all
That's
that
right.
means.
Yep.
I know. It's really crazy.
Yep. And of course, for many of you in the United States, today was the inauguration for our new president and administration today, which always was on the 20th typically. So.
Oh, it's usually on the 20th? Oh, right. It's the 20th. Yes, today's the 20th. Yes. I forgot about that.
Yep. New day.
A new day.
The weather's been
After.
beautiful. Yeah. The weather's been good out in California, but as you know, we're behind in rain, so we're in a drought right now. But supposedly, I think we're going to finally get some moisture next week, according to the weather reports.
Travis, if you want to borrow some, we've got plenty here.
Dave, can you ship it over?
Literally, there's
totally get some to
been
us.
flood warnings here for the last 24
really?
hours. We've got roads that are submerged in water. There's been danger of life warnings put out for certain areas, literally not far from me. It's rained constantly, heavily for a good kind of like 2 or 3 days now, and it's like I just saw an arc floating by the window.
My!
Going 2 by 2.
Oh, wait, you're just kind of joking.
I was going to say.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that you could definitely gift some to us for the vintners, from the wine business and all. And but I do hope, David Steele, that your body strokes and have your water wings ready and everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Travis, I was going to say, Dave, I actually, there was a time once in a previous my previous life, I was at work in New Jersey. And there was this massive deluge. I mean, flood waters, and the waters would not go down. And all of us had to be rescued out of the building by boat.
By an ark?
No,
Yeah.
it was by a raft. Fire
No way.
raft. Yeah.
A long white beard. And
yeah.
When did that happen?
This happened, probably probably around 2000, somewhere in that range.
It's interesting. I think I remember hearing about some flooding that happened in August of 2000 in New Jersey.
Maybe there was this. Anyway, it was this area used to flood, but not like the way it was, like cars submerged. I mean, it was intense.
Man.
Yeah, it was intense. But, so I have officially been pulled out of a building by a boat.
Oh wow.
Oh,
I mean, don't get me wrong. We are we're quite lucky over here. We don't get some of the extreme kind of things that happens in a lot of other countries. Obviously in California, you have a lot of earthquakes and things like that, and there's a lot of extreme weather all over America, and we don't tend to get anything as bad as that. But I have noticed certainly in the last few years with climate change and everything, things kind of getting worse. In fact, we've actually even had a couple of earthquakes here in the UK, more down south, not like major ones, but we for a country that never really has any, we've had some this year there's been a couple this year, so it just shows you how the world's kind of changing.
We've had quakes in California in the Bay Area too, small ones, but it's interesting. I've been in earthquakes all my lifetime. Plus, I was in the Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989.
Yeah, my sister was.
Your sister was in the Bay Area, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, my sister used to live in Cupertino. Well, actually in Sunnyvale. And the first time I ever visited her, I actually experienced my first kind of, I think it was an aftershock rather than an earthquake. It was a jolt. I remember my sister, I can't remember how old I was at the time, maybe about 12, 13. We were just about to get a cab ride to go and see Days of Thunder. So that kind of, if you remember that film.
Days of Thunder, of course. That's NASCAR, yeah. Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is that Talladega, right?
Yeah,
Talladega Nights.
No, not Talladega Nights, but isn't Days of Thunder is NASCAR, isn't it? With Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, waiting for a cab to come pick us up, and then there just being this kind of jolt, and me diving under a table.
Travis, it's been quiet recently, thank God.
No. So actually, so the earthquakes, so when we were in the earthquake, the Loma Prieta, it was a bad one. Our house was damaged. The chimney had to be rebuilt like everyone else's.
Wow.
My dad, I mean, we've been quiet with earthquakes where I live, thankfully.
Right.
But the one I was in, my dad was 32 floors up in San Francisco in Embarcadero 4 at work.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they all thought they were going to die.
Is that where he works? Right? You still work there, downtown San Francisco?
No, that was way back when. But
you just reminded me of something. Are you familiar with that area, Travis?
Oh yes.
So I remember as a child, my parents took me and one of my younger brothers to San Francisco, and we stayed at the Hyatt right there at Embarcadero Center, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right where the trolley comes to a stop right there at the end of the line right there.
Oh, the cable car.
Cable car, yes.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back some memories there. So.
Yeah, no, I was in Embarcadero once too. When one of the stations I used to listen to when we lived up in the Bay Area, I got a tour of one of the radio stations in 1999 over there at KCBS Radio. And that was a lot of fun.
Travis, sorry, can you just repeat that? Did you work for a radio station?
No, I didn't actually.
Because you've got, listen.
Right? Doesn't he have the best voice?
He's got such a good voice for radio.
Yes.
You have such a good voice for radio.
Travis, you want to go into radio?
I thought about it when I was in my teens, but I'm in the home improvement, but I do use my speaking voice for our store announcements, so I have to make it work.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, we're looking for some DJs,
What would that be like if we were just walking through the store?
Line dance.
I think that's a great idea.
Travis, I think we're gonna have to talk offline.
Yeah.
You know what? It is so good to see everybody as usual.
Absolutely.
I always look forward to those meetings.
Well.
Travis, I am going to pray that one day I'm walking through a store and hear your voice over the speakers. That would just make my day.
Well, thank you. And who knows, if you're ever in my area, maybe I can show you around my work one day once this all settles down.
We're gonna have to come out and visit one day.
What should we, like, if Dave, if you were to come to the Home Depot Travis worked at, do you think we should tell him before we arrive, or do you think we should surprise him?
No, total surprise.
Total surprise.
Yeah, total surprise.
All right, Travis, you've been warned.
Okay.
If you hear a British voice over the loudspeaker in your store, you're gonna know that a surprise is present.
Okay.
Let me just say something. Right, it's just going on Travis's voice. There's I watched a stand-up show recently. Who's the guy? Short, black, Kevin Hart. Yeah. Comedian Kevin Hart. I watched one of Kevin Hart's shows a few weeks ago, and he did this part of a routine where he was talking about a guy. He'd been to I think it was Home Depot, actually, somewhere like that. No, it wasn't Home Depot. It was like Walmart or somewhere like that, some kind of department store. But you have these things called greeters.
Yes.
And he was saying about, he said this greeter at this one store that he'd gone to, he was the best greeter he'd ever seen. And he was so good that, with the way he kind of introduced himself and the way he spoke, that literally he just it caused him to go and buy a load of stuff. And he was trying to show it the guy as he was walking out the store. And I could just imagine you being, you know, that kind of person. You just like, you know, you just have a voice for it, Travis.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Travis, can I put you on the spot?
Depot.
Can I put you on the spot and ask for a small request?
Yeah.
Can you say you're listening to TM Poetry with Dave Steele on the Blind Dance Network?
All right, you are listening to TM Poetry with David Steele and the Blind Poetry Network.
There we go. Okay.
And you,
I just had to have you
is
say
sponsored
it.
by Home Depot.
Awesome.
Love it.
We're gonna talk more, Travis.
Sounds good.
And we got a few projects for you.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna bring on our next guest momentarily. But Travis, if you want to come back on, you'll raise your hand. You know how to reach us. And
Yep.
Thank you, Travis.
Always for your participation and always uplifting the group. And we love having you here. So I just want to say thank you.
You are
Later,
most
alligator.
welcome.
Awesome.
Stay with
Thank
us.
you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Sending you right back as an attendee. Okay. Morton, if okay, raise your hand and let me know if it's okay to bring you on. I would love to bring you on. It's been a while since we've seen you. You've made an appearance here in the past, and I would love to. There it is. There it is. Awesome.
Okay, is Morton put his hand up?
Yeah, Morton is here, and I'm just asking him to unmute. There he is.
I did so.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Hi.
Hey, Morton.
Gonna-
How you doing?
How are you, Morton?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
We got all these different time zones on tonight.
Yeah, I'm 1 hour ahead of you, Dave, and
Yeah, I was just going to say that you're 1 hour ahead.
yeah,
But
it's,
yeah, I actually messaged Morton last week, but I know you had kind of another thing, or you were kind of busy, and it was a bit late. You'd had a lot on that day, so I'm glad you could make it this week. It's good to see you.
yeah,
you're
thank
looking
you.
well, my friend. How was your
Yeah.
How was your Christmas and holidays? Did you have a good Christmas and New Year?
It was it was really weird in a way because I had a lot of time just to do nothing and reflect, and I didn't really feel well, but I'm getting well again. I think I just spent a couple of months now trying to detach myself from this whole project that I've been enveloped in for almost 3 years. Yeah, and that was kind of an addiction almost, to sort of get rid of it. Put it over
100%.
there and not think about it. So that was kind of a tough detox in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from with the book, and everything that you were doing, which has been a great success from what I've seen. I was obviously sharing the other day. It does kind of consume you after a while, because especially when something is your own kind of project, and you're responsible for everything in its entirety with regards to marketing, everything, to do with the book. You do kind of every waking moment, your focus is on that, and after a while, it kind of takes its toll. And you get to a stage where, you can get frustrated if it's not, if you're not, having a good day with it, or it naturally slows down, because it does for everyone. And you do need to kind of take a step back. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, but also losing, all of a sudden, sometimes, just losing confidence in well, does it even make a difference? Like all these self-doubts and what am I doing? And
yeah, we are so alike in so many ways, Morton. Even with all the stuff that I'm doing, I have like times. I've spoke to Barry and I've spoke to Ben about this recently, and it just happened very frequently where I have a little kind of quiet moment, and I'll go, am I actually making a difference anymore? Is what I'm doing working? Do I need to change what I'm doing? And the self-doubt kind of creeps in, and then naturally things pick up again, and you go on a high, and that's just the way it goes. But it is we all kind of feel that self-doubt, and have to kind of reassure ourselves.
Yeah, and I think especially in this time of isolation, when you get too much time with your own self and your own thoughts, they can really take you on a roller coaster ride. So I also noted you cannot heal what you don't reveal. I think it's really a great sentence. And I saw your post. I think it was today or yesterday, where you said, I'm really struggling right now, this isolation. And the moment we're able to articulate that, that's when we actually can receive help also from the community and people around us. And if we stick, if we're stuck with it within ourselves, it just becomes this huge knot in the chest. And so it's impossible to heal if you don't reveal what is actually going on. So really well written there.
Thank you.
I saw you.
It just I've spoken about before. I made that promise right from the start that I was going to kind of, not hold back with anything that was writing. And even though, like, obviously I get a lot of people through the poetry who will naturally kind of, it'll resonate with them, and then they'll reach out to me for support in different ways, whether it be like, someone to speak to, or, a message every now and again, or whatever. I always make a point of still showing every time that I'm struggling. I don't want to keep it in or just keep it to myself. I want to, say, look, I'm having a hard time, because everyone has a hard time, and that's okay to say that. And if I can say it, then you can. And that's important. And I think, for when, you are trying to help someone or support someone, it's a lot easier to kind of be comforted and gain support from someone who has been there and still goes there. That's just keeping it real.
But you kind of encouraged me to. I've been having a blog post in my head for some while about how to go through this crisis, or crisis in general, how the stop swap thought idea that I talk about in the book. But I didn't felt that it was that I was able to write it, because I didn't feel well myself. I didn't feel that I was coping with all this the way that I thought that I should do. So who am I to write about how to cope when I'm not coping? So I said, when I saw your post, I said, therefore I should write about it, because I know how to do it, but it's not always that I can do it, but I know about it, so I'm going to share it anyway.
That's exactly why you should write about it. You're saying that because you're struggling, that's exactly the position you need to be writing from.
Exactly.
And just like you're saying, that you got to reveal it in order to be able to heal it.
Yeah,
exactly.
People look at your amazing book, and may think that because the what you're writing about, that you have all the answers and you've moved past that, and that's not the case for any of us. No. And it's important to continue to show that it's a constantly changing process. Ben, we've spoke about this all the time. It's that wheel of you're up and you're down, and it's we all go
like
through
seesaw.
that, and we've
got to have more people on a seesaw that
speaking about exactly. I'll have to think of it. There's an old Greek philosopher, and it's going to really annoy me. I'll have to find out. I'll come back on it next week. There's a Greek philosopher who talks about life being like a wheel, and you're up and you're down, and it's constantly revolving and changing. I'll have to think who it is.
But when was the last time you guys were on a seesaw?
Not long ago.
I haven't been on a seesaw. I don't know how many years.
I don't even know what it is.
You don't know what it is. What do they call a seesaw?
What?
It's when there's like a piece of plank of wood.
Children's playground. They may have a different name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah. We had that in Denmark too.
I'm sure you do. But I haven't been on those in a long time.
Actually, while I've got you, Morten, hang on a second. Let me see.
Morten, I was thinking about you yesterday, by the way. because we had a guest visitor here in the office yesterday, and we were talking about assistive technology, and this person mentioned that someone actually bikes. We're talking about different use cases with this technology and stuff like that. And they mentioned that this person, there is someone out there that bikes with this technology. And I remember I don't know if it was a video that I saw, a picture of you where you wrote about.
It's a video where Morton put a little donut of RP floating around while he's riding a bike, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yes. So I'm thinking to myself, right? That's the first thing that came to my mind when he told me that someone's using this piece of using a piece of assistive technology and riding a bike. I said, if Warren could ride a bike, I could definitely see how someone could use this technology.
Yeah, I'm not recommending to do it, but sometimes I'm just stubborn and say, well, I can still ride a bike and I don't care what anyone says. And then people fall over me. My wife even, she supports all the things that I do, but she looks at me, seriously, are you really going to do it? Yes, I am.
When was the last time you were out on the bike?
This summer. I'm not. I haven't been. The weather is not really for it right now, I think. But
do you have snow on the ground in Denmark?
No, not really. There's never really anything. It's always in the middle of. It's raining and not really cold and not really. It's very.
I always thought that Denmark was cold, the snow.
No snow.
No snow.
There a couple of years now we haven't had snow. I miss it.
We don't. Or maybe actually I don't. I don't know about you, B. Do you miss snow?
No.
For
those of you out there with white canes, I don't know how guide dogs do in the snow, but gosh, wow.
Not great.
I was out there in Arizona with my white cane doing white cane O&M training or orientation mobility for those folks not familiar. But the first time I had it in snow in Baltimore, whoa, you were there, Barry. Remember that? I was like, what? Cane in the snow.
When?
Downstairs. We're coming out of the office.
Oh, like this year?
Yeah.
Oh, that one little sprinkle?
That was snow.
Oh, yes.
I was trying to find the sidewalk, and I'm trying to find the curb. Oh,
yes.
my. Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a little snowplow cane tip?
We're right here in the low vision shop. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Absolutely. That sounds good.
Oh, that's great.
So I'd like to, while I've got Morton on, if that's okay, read a piece of poetry.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
You want Morton to read the poetry, or you're going to read some Morton poetry?
No, I've got a piece. Yeah, I'll be like, Morton, just make up a piece on the spot. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
I've got a piece
here. Yeah. Okay.
So here we go. 6 years is all it's been since blindness put me on this road. At first, my world felt ripped apart. I struggled with this load. The system failed, my dreams derailed, my place in this world lost. I felt no use, became recluse, all down to blindness cost. I couldn't come to terms with how I felt when I went out. The simplest of daily tasks became my daily doubt. I felt ashamed to use my cane. I hated people's stares. I faced the misconceptions through this poetry I shared. Admitted my depression in the hope someone relates. For every time I wrote these rhymes, my pride would compensate. I learned to breathe while I still grieve, for vision yet to lose. I took the opportunity to live the life I choose. So now I find, though I'm still blind, I'm happier by far. Won't settle for the minimum. Dream big and raise the bar. To get my words by others heard is still my biggest goal. As vision fades, a promise made to bravely bear my soul. I stand before you here today, so proud of where I am. I know there's people listening who truly give a damn. I'm well aware who truly cares and those who've walked away. I'm humbled by their loyalty, and this debt I'll gladly pay. It's why I try to multiply the power of these words, to send this poet's message to the ears who've never heard. Though soon the little vision in these eyes of mine be gone, I'm certain that these words I pen will always carry on.
Yeah, I've got a couple lines stick out for me. Live the life was it live the life I picked to choose?
Opportunity. Take this opportunity.
I'll take this opportunity to live the life I choose.
Yep.
That's the line I was gonna pick.
See, great
That
minds
was the
think alike.
line.
That was the line. All right, my
You'll,
one, dream big.
you'll often see common little lines that appear throughout my poetry. That I've learned to breathe while I still grieve is a you know, a common kind of piece in, because I think it's really important, that message of understanding that, you know, being anxious or struggling with depression in certain situations is natural and perfectly normal, but not to let it stop you.
I just hear all the time I read and hear your poetry, Dave. I can just hear a very clear intention. You know, it's almost like you are making a declaration of intention every time you write. It's like in your words, I hear your intention for your life. You don't want this to defeat you. You want to rise above it, and you want to live with this, and it will take you down and it will take you up. But I think appreciation of all the things that we kind of forget to appreciate in life is so evident and clear when we are dealing with things that it's pushing us to the edge all the time. So I always hear that there's this strong intention. Maybe it's not always easy, but you still have a decision and you want to, you know, live your life as best as possible with this and not let it defeat you. I always hear that sort of a common denominator.
I'm very conscious, and I have been from the very beginning, of when I write a piece of poetry. One of the things I love about it is I'm very conscious of the fact that although these are my words, that when someone out there is reading a piece that I've put out online or whatever, they are when they read it, they often read it in their head. You know, they don't. When you read it, you know, it's only kids that do it. When you read a piece of or something, you don't speak it out loud, do you? You're reading it in your head. So when they do that, they're kind of internalizing it and speaking to themselves. And as a way of kind of helping people, that's a great thing to do. So they're using my words, but they're speaking to themselves. And that, for me, is something that I really kind of, it's very intentional in the way I kind of write and what I talk about. Although it's from my first person, when someone else is reading it, it's them encouraging themselves with the things that they need to hear, that they might not be able to find the words to put together themselves.
Yeah. But when you write, do you think that what you write is also what you need to hear right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I get.
Well, in a certain way, like the first book was very much written in the earlier days. You know, when everything was very raw and at the beginning of, you know, that new diagnosis and the first kind of year of coming to terms. But you know, there are certain times now where, you know, as I said, I get inspired, or I hear a story, or I speak to someone, and it makes me think about something from back then. And I'll often put out a piece of poetry, and it may be quite dark in places. And someone will message me and going, "Oh, are you okay, Dave?" And I'll say, "Yeah, no, I'm perfectly fine. You know, everything's okay. I'm not particularly maybe going through this at the moment, although you may think that. I'm just thinking back to then, because doing that might help someone else who's there." So it's not necessarily about how I'm feeling, you know, myself right at that time, but I always say that no matter what, no matter how far down this journey I go and how accepting I become of my low vision and everything around it, I will always kind of remember and never forget those early days, because there's always someone else going through those early days, and those are the times where people need the support the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There's always someone at that starting point. And
yeah, and I just want to say, too often in our community, there's a lot of people out there, and I don't mind saying this, who are guilty of forgetting that. It almost becomes, I think we've had this conversation before, Morton, and I know me and Ben have, it almost becomes like an alcoholic who can't stand to be around people that are drinking. Certain people go down the progression of low vision and blindness. And there might be people out there that are guilty of this listening, and they become intolerant of hearing people from the beginning of their journey talking about things that they'd gone through, previous years. They can't hear it anymore because they've moved past it. And I'm very strong on saying you should never forget that there's always someone else, at that stage. And, you shouldn't, well, I hate the expression pity party. I hate that expression. To take the power away from someone naturally feeling anxious about something that's perfectly normal to do that is, in my opinion, a disgusting thing to do. I think it's wrong to get in a fit of depression and stay there. It's okay to go there as long as you don't stay there. But I think to kind of discourage someone and take the power away by using that pity party term is a really kind of a tough thing, because we've all been there at times.
Yeah.
I hope that makes
By
sense.
the way, Dave, Doreen says she agrees. She says she was very true.
I have a comment on that, Dave. And you and I together have experienced parts of this journey, and back and forth calls and a vision loss on my end or your end, or upcoming cataract surgeries on yours, and various things like that. There's an old saying about the weakest link in a chain. Let's go ahead and forget about that. I just wanted to bring it up for a quick moment, because in this community, and that's what your poetry does, that's what we're building here, community. It's a chain link fence, or a mesh, if you will. And that's what I love about it, because I am a link in it. You're a big old link in it, Dave Morton. My man Barry, you're blind at heart. You're a big old link.
Thank you.
And it's beautiful, because you think about like a tennis ball thrown at that chain link fence and just bounces right off. It might like impact for a quick minute, but
My tennis ball would get stuck in there.
hey, there you go. It's that supportive. And that's what we're talking about here, is that we are redefining what it means to go blind. We're doing it together.
And that's what I love about the community that we create in, and the people that are kind of gravitating towards us. Too often I've seen within our community, and it's not just our community that does this, there's others as well, but quite often I see that people have a message to say, and they kind of focus on their own thing. And when someone else is doing the same kind of thing, they compete against each other and they don't work together. Whereas I think the community that we've created is full of people like yourselves, like Morton, like many of the other people we've had on these calls, who through different mediums, a lot being through the artistry, are kind of trying to push and get the same message across, of raising awareness, inclusion, battling misconceptions, dealing with helping people support, and through a lot of the things that we talk about. And it's great to see us all kind of doing our thing and working together and supporting each other with honesty and integrity.
Absolutely. And learning together along the way. And it's interesting, as bumps and bruises happen, as they all do to each one of us in our lives. It's great to be beside people like yourself, Dave, like yourself, Barry, like Travis, Green. I know you're out there, and obviously Morton. And I just want to say also about the artistic nature of it all. It really is awesome. Oh, yeah, this is what I wanted to say, Dave. It came up from earlier. Check this out. There's something about like finding your voice as an artist. And I thought about it. I've talked to you privately in person about it. And I asked you why you keep on putting yourself out there with some of this real and raw stuff. And you did tell me, and this is interesting, and this is where I came up with this answer to it. Like, it helps me understand now. You said it is because of that person that is just coming into the community that needs to know that live, currently, right now, there's somebody else, the beating heart, that feels that same way. And you found these words, you're sharing them, and I was like, beautiful. Now, I was like, how is it that Dave keeps that alive and well, like that desire burning? And I was like, not only have you found your voice, it's so powerful that it's this echo that just keeps coming back to you. And it keeps this fire going. And you say, thank God for that echo. My man, Dave Steele.
Yeah, and like Morton was saying, there's times when it kind of goes quiet, and you naturally kind of doubt it, but it always kind of comes back. And I always talk about, I did an event earlier today for a charity here in London, in London, the UK. And I was talking about, they asked me, you know, where, you know, what my passion for this kind of comes from. And I was talking about how I'm a great believer, like I've spoke about before, that everything kind of happens for a reason. And the things that we go through in our past give us the ability and tools to face things going forward. And I talk about, you know, times in my past where I've been homeless, times in my past where I had attempted suicide, and lots of dark times. And I look back on all those dark times and I'm thankful for them because they gave me I suppose the courage, the ability to be open and talk about anything. So when it came to the stage when I started to lose my sight, I dealt with it a lot better, because I'd gone through all these things in the past. And once again, I take great comfort in that when I'm having tough times, because I can look back and remind myself of what I've already faced, but then look to the future and go, I'm going to be able to deal with things in the future much better for what I'm feeling now.
Mhm.
I think that's a general statement in life. You know, also you look at what you've accomplished, where you've come from, and you say sometimes, you know, you take that step back, you take a minute to think about that, and you're like, wow, I was able to get through this and accomplish that.
Let me tell you one thing, and I apologize if this goes too dark. I don't want to trigger anyone with this little thing. There was a time in my life when I was 22.
Last week, Dave.
Yeah, I wish. And I was homeless. I wasn't. I had like a little period where I wasn't working, because I used to work seasonal when I worked in entertainment. So I had this strange life of, you know, 1 minute I was singing in beautiful hotels, you know, could be in the Caribbean or anywhere in the world. And then when the season would finish, you know, there was a little like couple of month break, I had no family home to go back to, and I'd end up, if I wasn't sofa surfing, stuck with everything that I belonged in bags. And I remember once feeling like I just couldn't do it anymore. I wanted to give up, and I was in a place called Clacton-on-Sea, down on the south coast of England, by the seaside. And I remember dumping all my bags into some bushes. I'd made the decision that was me, and I walked down this beach front, and I sat on a bench, and there was a kind of like a pylon kind of electric tower, and I waited till it was quiet, and I climbed to the top of it, and I got to the top, and it was cold, it was dark, it was windy, and I put my hands back on the fence and leant forward and was ready to let myself go off the top. And something inside of me just made me go, no, this isn't it. There's more to it. There's more to do. Somehow you are strong enough to carry on. And I climbed down and I walked a couple of miles back down, got my bags and carried on. And from that moment, I always knew that no matter how bad it got, I would never, ever go back to those moments. So forward years to getting a diagnosis of low vision, although I struggled with anxiety and depression in the first 8 months, when I found the voice to start to speak about it, I made the promise that I wasn't going to hold back, and I was going to talk about everything and try and help people, because I wanted to be there for people like no one was there for me when I needed them. I wanted to be that person that I needed back then, if that makes sense. So that's where it comes from.
Yep. And Allison has just said it's because you can't heal what you don't reveal.
Man, Dave, I was right up there
That's-
with you when I heard that just now.
Thank you, Allison.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Good
More,
story.
what was that poster behind? Not your book poster, but the poster directly behind you on the wall. Does that say
That's
Queen?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
A Bohemian? It does say it. It does
It
say
is.
Queen. It says Queen, right? Is that what it says?
Excuse me?
It says Queen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's great.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
Bohemian
Come on.
Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Now,
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do
I
the
forgot you were.
Macarena?
I forgot you were a singer. More-
So Barry's just not on Facebook very much.
Beelzebub. Fight for me, for me, for me.
Yeah, I've
Gonna have a
been,
Wayne's World moment there going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Start headbutting, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
Wayne's
not got the hair for
World moment.
Headbutting.
Wayne's World. Wow.
Wayne's
Who remembers
World.
Waynesboro when they're laying on the front of the hood of the car and watching the planes go by?
Oh, with the
Absolutely.
planes.
Yeah,
Man. That's
Yep.
cool.
I've seen that movie 30, 40 times. It's the dumbest movie ever, but it's the best movie
Oh.
ever. It's
Yeah, just great.
yeah.
That's good stuff. I like that. Morton, talk to us how things come along with the book. I know it's a great launch. Bring us up to speed where things are with the book.
I don't really know actually. I kind of stopped looking. So I had a last week. I had a promotion week where it was on a, what do you call it, countdown sale, something on Amazon that started with $1 and for the Kindle book, and then but for that, as I mentioned before, I kind of just let it go a month ago, and I kind of got sick and tired of talking about it and looking at it and promoting it. I just wished, maybe at this point I just wish someone else would do it, but I'm the only one to do it. So
you want to do
I
it?
just
As a matter of fact.
I just put it aside and I said, it's there. I just still have the poster. It's still me and still part of me, but I'm not doing much. I think also because the whole year was not, what I kind of anticipated it would be. I was going to do the TEDx talk in April, and I had a lot of ideas and had a lot of bookings also for talking, lecturing and everything just got canceled, and I was just trying to figure out how to do all this anyways. And there over Christmas I said, no, I just, you have to figure out how to be comfortable without having all this, and just, try to just sit still. I've been meditating quite a lot, like at least 1 hour per day. So really finding back to myself and being not dependent on anything other than the stillness inside me. So I'm not doing anything with the book right now. It's just there, and people can pick it up.
It's more than just there. It's moving along by itself. Has the energy, and I'm sure it's doing just fine.
Yeah, it's and I still I'm getting so touched when people write, just to say, well, thank you for writing this book. It's meant a lot to me, and that just makes my day, because it just, I think you guys can relate to this. When it's almost like if you can heal some part of someone out there, you heal something inside of yourself. You can.
You don't need to tell me that. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. It's
I you know what, you guys have, Dave, you do it with your poetry, you've done it with your book. Morton, you've done with your book and beyond. I know that, I understand that feeling, because I'm on the front line, marketing, and when I get certain feedback, this particular campaign had a reaction and it was able to help someone out, it's a priceless feeling. So I know exactly what you're saying.
So Morton and Dave, I'm just curious of everybody. Has anybody seen the movie Big Trouble in Little China?
Of course.
Never even
I
heard of
haven't.
it.
Yeah.
Me and Dave. Okay.
Morton, you familiar with that movie?
Kurt Russell.
No, I never heard of it either. So don't worry.
Dave Steele, I'm going to save this reference for later. I think we need to have a watch party with our friends with Big Trouble in Little China. What do you say?
I think so. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh man, that'll be a riot.
It's a great film.
Gosh. Okay.
And I know you have
it's kind of the same era as The Golden Child. If you remember The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Okay.
Anyone
80s.
watching anything good these days, like Netflix or Prime or anything?
Yeah. Just finished the latest series of Cobra Kai
Okay.
The Karate Kid spin-off, which is just incredible.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah, I
third
heard
season
that
was good.
also.
Oh, unbelievable. And I'm waiting for, it should be coming on some point soon, the best thing on Netflix, which is, if you haven't watched it, you need to, because it's incredible. It's a Spanish TV program, and it's called The Money Heist.
Casa
Oh,
de
is it out?
Papel.
Is
Yes,
that
exactly.
is that
The
out
House
of
of
Yeah,
Paper.
out of
yeah,
Spain?
it's really good. It's from
Incredible.
Spain, yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's
the-
really
out of
it's really
Spain.
good.
Is that the one?
Yep,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is incredible.
The professor.
Absolutely, yeah.
The professor,
Yeah, we
right,
saw
right,
that.
right. He's running the whole show. Correct.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
yeah.
So, Dave, I've got a really good question I asked Morton recently. I want to ask him again on the spot, and you though, Dave, both of you guys, and Barry.
Okay.
Where, and Dave, I gotta know your answer to this first,
Okay.
actually. Mr.
Okay.
Almost coming up on 1,000 poems published. Where does creativity come from the start? Where does creativity come from? And dovetailed question, what is talent? Where does talent come from?
The heart. I talk about it before, as you said, between 800 and 1,000 poems, not one has taken longer than 20 minutes. If it isn't come from the heart, it ain't worth writing. And I believe those people that really get to that place in life where they find something which is truly what they're meant to do, it's coming from a place of love and from the heart, always. Especially with with anything in that kind of art format, whether it be film, whether it be music, whether it be poetry, whatever, it's got to come from a place of heart and sincerity.
Does it just spring up on you?
Yeah. It's there all the time. I can write about anything. And I never could do that. I can't do it about anything else. I've had like a couple of people have wrote to me and said, "Oh, can you write a piece of poetry about my dog or my wife because it's our anniversary?" I wrote a piece of poetry about an old friend of mine's stepdad who passed away, and she wanted to read a piece of poetry at a funeral, and I managed to just kind of do that by talking to her and getting some emotions. But really, it's got to be something that's in here, that's something that I understand, that affects me, that's from the heart, and that allows me to write about it with those kind of emotions that are in the poetry that people resonate with. So it's got to come from the heart, and talent. With regards
Real
to
quick
talent,
on that, you have more than 3 or 4 that I'm aware of that are very, very serious talents. So that's why I asked you that.
what would you say my talents are?
Well, writing, orating
Yeah.
of any sort on any stage, singing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And though, just to name 3 right there. Like you
Yeah,
can get you have talent, like literal born innate natural talent. So that's why.
Yeah, but that comes from the same place. I speak about, it came from me being a singer, and all of that came from me being a singer. It came from, I look at my past. I always thought I was meant to be a singer, but the having the ability to sing and the love I have for music inspires me to write the way I do, and all the things that happened to me in the past, coupled with that, is what you see kind of now.
So it's grown.
So, all those talents that you just said that you see in me all come from music and my love of music, which has always been there. From the moment I could speak, I knew I was going to be a singer, and I did that. So, the writing, has only grown so much because I'm now writing from a place of heart and sincerity and something that means a lot to me. And I've written, nearly 1,000 poems now, all about our journey within low vision and blindness. And, that's a lot to write on one subject.
Yeah, it is.
But you know, how many songs are there out there about love?
Gazillion.
If you start writing about love next, ooh, it'll double overnight.
Well, I have.
Actually, I
I
remember
do.
a few written about you and Amy and your guys'.
I do. Yeah, I write all the you know,
yeah.
a lot of
That's true.
Where's it gone? Hang on a second. So I know we're kind of pushing for time.
I know we're pushing time. I just want to comment. Dave has been commenting through the chat, and we appreciate all the feedback, Dave, and also Jane. I'm happy that we have been able to close out your day on a positive note as well. Always good to be here. So
wait, since it's January 20th, that means we're getting close to Valentine's Day, Dave. Speaking of love poems.
Let me reach
February,
so
Low Vision Awareness Month.
This one's called She, and when myself and Amy got married 6 years ago, we got married. We set the day a year after I proposed because I got, you know, I proposed on Christmas Day 2013. I was then diagnosed with RP in April 2014, and then we got married on New Year's Eve 2014. And she wanted to make sure we went ahead with the wedding because she wanted me to see her walk down the aisle while I could still see her clearly enough to do that. And then, because there'd been a big dip in my vision, we decided to renew our vows 2 years ago on New Year's Eve at the same time in the same church, but just with me and Amy and the kids and her mum. And as part of that ceremony, I actually read this poem, which I wrote for her. It's called She. And I know a lot of people can relate to this, and especially Sedona Dave, after seeing his amazing film, which you created, Ben. But this, I'd love to know what Dave's thoughts are on this. It's called She. In a world that's getting darker, she is the brightest light. She gives me her last ounce of strength when I'm too tired to fight. When head is full of worry and heart begins to tear, she listens to my problems, her bosom burdens bear. If future days of blindness begin to get too much, she helps me to refocus with just the slightest touch. For all the vision I have lost, she puts the beauty back. She makes sure I can feel it for what my eyesight lacks. When I feel isolated, she helps me know she's there. When all the world's against me, she shows me that she cares. When day in future finally comes, when last of vision leaves, she's crystal clear in memory. No need for me to grieve. I've memorized each wrinkle, those eyes and laughter lines. Her beauty mine forever to keep. Her beauty mine forever to keep in front of mind. From moment since I first laid eyes till last day of my life, when vision's gone, our love shines on. So proud that she's my wife.
Wow.
Speaking of Sedona Dave is now live.
There he is.
What's up, Sedona Dave?
Look at those clouds.
I know. Look at that beautiful sky.
Where is he at on the screen?
Right here.
Oh,
Bottom right.
What's
I know
up,
that
all
view.
of my friends.
I know that view. Can you space the camera? Can you move the camera a little towards your left a little bit? There.
That left?
Yeah, that left.
Mr. Wiz in the house.
I want to see Snoopy. Is it Snoopy?
There's Snoopy's way in the
right out there.
I definitely don't want to minimize any of what Dave Steele just read. My goodness, Dave. I'm going to bless you with this view as I weep tears of admiration and joy. Man, yes, our support systems, our loved ones, the beauty that they offer our lives, that they enhance our lives, vision or no vision. God bless our Beebs. I can't say enough about Deb, about our support, our dogs, our pets, whether they be service animals or not. I was just petting Griffey when
how is he, by the way?
He's good. He's getting old, but he's a good old boy. He's a good old boy.
Awesome.
But the love that they and support that they give us, Davey. I mean, Nailed it. I don't want a mic drop because I know how precious and valuable mics are. But right, Ben, thank you. But a
I've been
virtual
dropping
mic
your
drop
boom
to you
pipe all
on
over
that
the
one.
place.
It's so great to hear you and your poetry, and to see my crew, my support system up on the screen. It's all y'all's. It's great to have you guys here. Thank you.
Do you know, I can't wait to get out there where you are and feel the the atmosphere of that magical place that you are so lucky enough to live in. And I want to go, I want to, as Ben said, stand somewhere like that and read a piece of poetry.
He's standing on his front porch.
This is
Oh,
my front
man.
porch.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What a view. It's amazing.
I mean, I can just picture with the way B would shoot that of me stood, on a mountaintop somewhere, or with a view like that, reading a piece of poetry. I want to get one, with the stars as well. Like a sky full of stars that I can no longer see, and
you can play some
something.
little Coldplay to go along with that.
Oh man!
And sing Bohemian Rhapsody right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Morin, you want to come out to Sedona?
Oh, that would be awesome. It's
Okay.
it's a long way from where I live. I'm not actually that fond of traveling. It's and maybe it's because it's been so stressful for all those years when I was traveling a lot, and I didn't really tell anyone that I was really struggling with it. So it kind of stuck in my system that every time I get into an airport, it's like, oh, all the stress again. And so I'm not really.
I understand that. But and I got very anxious, and I still get anxious when I'm traveling. But I rely on the wonderful assistance at train stations and at the airports. The guys that Barry organised for me to help me to and from the planes. When I've travelled out there, have been incredible. The staff, American.
You guys should fly together.
Yeah, I'd love that. He should fly to. I could come by. He could come
Yeah.
by Heathrow, and then
Yeah,
we'd fly
via Heathrow, exactly.
Yeah, someone. Yeah. I like to travel when there's some kind of plan in place, or otherwise I've been trying to do it on my own, where I had to figure out everything coming to Amsterdam, and oh my God, the monitors, and where to go, and that's
you need to do it with proper assistance and a travel buddy like me at the side of you.
There you go.
We can sit on the plane and have a few beers. And relax.
And I'll block the middle seat for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be cool. I'd like to see that. All right.
I'm getting to the point where I don't like to go anywhere without Barry. So if you'll go to Europe, I'll come out and visit you.
Well, listen, can you imagine, we if we all get into a room, what we could write between us and what we could come up with and create would be pretty magical.
I can't wait for that.
Let's
Can't wait.
And Dave Epstein is obviously included in that as well. Absolutely.
It's gonna have to go down in Sedona.
Yeah, I think so.
No other place.
I liked what you said tonight, Dave, about building that voice in so many words. Just everything that's going on, whether it's today or tomorrow or last week or next week, it's all just adding to the poetry of our life. Absolutely. So,
Dave, you want to? I know we're a little past our scheduled time. Do you want to go ahead and close it out with another piece of poetry?
I certainly do. I have something lined up. I'm just about to find it. 1 second.
Dave, it looks a little cold out there, Sedona. I'll turn your there. You go.
It's a beautiful 55 degrees. I'm just going through a cold phase where I'm all bundled up. I don't have the hood on now, but I had hooded up and headphones on, and I was all head geared up.
Nice.
But it's beautiful right now. I had the fire going down at the fire pit. Sorry. Sorry.
Can you point the camera down at the pit?
Sure. That's easy.
There it is.
Wow. Yeah.
Got the grill, the pit, everything. If you go around to the back, you got the hot tub.
Oh wow. I'm gonna close things out. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's kind of been with us again for another amazing week. To Travis, to Doreen, to Morton, to Dave, and obviously to Barry and Ben. It's always a pleasure, and we've got some pretty exciting stuff on the horizon. Dave, we will fill you in offline with some more stuff that's kind of happening. Hopefully, possibly a trip.
Martin, we'll fill you in as well.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe possibly a trip the other way with you guys coming over to the UK at some point, which would be quite cool, potentially. So we've got lots to kind of.
I'm going to speak in like code here. Message. I'm thinking it's 2022, not 2021.
Yeah, we've been bearing had that chat before. Yeah, because I think that'd be far too. I thought it was 2021, but it'd be too soon to organise what needs to be done with that. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave you with a short piece. There's a lot to be said in this piece of poetry, but I'm sure you'll get it. Yeah, thanks again, guys. Standing at a crossroads of what in life I'll do, not sure right now which way to turn as vision fades from view. My journey into blindness has brought me to this place. I've worried for my future, but my future's mine to face. This challenge is my making. I find my strength through fear. As all the faces fade to haze, the answers are so clear. Whatever my blind future holds, I know one thing is sure. Won't waste my life on holding out for distant future cure. As eyes price pay, I'll break the clay that blindness molds for me. If blindness tries to lock me in, acceptance is the key.
Acceptance. That's what it is. It's being able to accept whatever is thrown at us. So a lot of curveballs.
A lot of good friends to be by the curveballs with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Step into that batter's box and swing away.
I would say bat him up.
Bat him up. Bat him up.
Swing batter.
Morton, do you like baseball? U.S. baseball?
I've seen a little bit of baseball, but I have no clue what's going on. They're just hitting a ball and running, and people are screaming, and everything is good. And so I know it's like American football. When I watch that, they just run and then they stop, and then they run and then they stop.
All right, we're gonna have to go to a Diamondbacks game at the same time.
Out in Arizona.
Yeah,
there we go.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Saying so long. Great to see everyone. Thank you, Dave, Sedona, Dave, Morton. Great surprise to see you. So happy to see you. Look great. And we'll catch up in the morning during coffee time the next couple of days. And we'll see everyone out there. Thanks, everyone, for participating.
Take care, guys.
Have
See
a
you next week.
wonderful afternoon, evening,
Thanks, Dave.
and we'll be well. Stay healthy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.